tell us a bit about yourself and about your business.
Sure. So eBiz Solutions, we have been in business from 2005. So it's been just over 17 and a half years. So doing well. So we started off as more a web company, but more progress towards more a digital transformation company, more about automations, integrations of systems, and the power of technology in businesses. So right now we are more focused on automating business processes, integrating systems, more data analytics, getting data insights to make business decisions, and also to be more efficient and be more productive. So bringing everything close to your palm, right? So getting to your smartphones. And so that's what we are trying to do, is trying to do business anywhere, anytime, with any device. So that's the goal of what we are trying to accomplish.
Right. And so, I mean, 17 years in your line of business is a big deal. There's so many evolutions and so many changes that go on within that space. Everybody wants to be in the digital space. So what do you put down your success to, your longevity to?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, right now, every business is a technology company doing a different what they're trying to do. If it's a Uber, it's a technology company servicing transportation, right? So it's the same thing. Even if you are a retail trying to sell something, you're a technology company selling a particular kind of product or multiple kind of products, right? So if you're a service company, you're a technology company trying to do service, like whether it's going to be a computer service or car service. So you want to be digitally engaged, and you want to be digital first, and then think about your business, how it fits in the digital.
Yeah. So as for you and your business, then understanding that technology has got to be a constant education process. So you and your team have got to be on top of all the latest trends. Whether they're going to be long-term trends or not is always waits to be seen. So how do you decide what technology is going to be long-lasting? Is there a process do you evaluate things?
Yeah. So like you said, there's so many technologies popping up every day. So our goal is to be on top of them, understand them, and understand the value they bring to a business. Right? It's not just a great technology. Sometimes, great technologies might not bring value to a business. So, and as we look into our businesses, the clients that we have more than 250 clients. So we'll see, okay, if we bring in a new technology, how would it help the business value for them? Either it's in the process or efficiency or cutting time, like productivity. And again, like just because there's a new technology doesn't mean that it fits everybody, right? So you got a lot of technologies that individually the technologies are awesome, but if you put them in part of a company, it might not work, right? So you have disparate systems. That means you got too many logins, you got too much security to take care of. So we try to bring in most of them into one platform and see if that platform can support. For example, if you take Office 365, Microsoft Office 365, I mean, you can do pretty much a lot of things, combination of like file sharing, right? So think about video, collaboration space, communication space. So all of them now fit in one place. So you don't have to have multiple different good applications out there, softwares. Instead of that, you just use one. But that makes it easy for people to communicate, collaborate, and share and meet using one system, and so that everything is at one place. So we try to think, okay, how does this new thing fit in their company's culture and where they're trying to go?
Yeah, it's technology is always interesting because there's the people who understand it, like yourselves. There's the business who want to implement it, but then in the end, it's the salespeople, the end users, the employees that have to be able to use it. And I would imagine that's a big factor in that efficiency thing too. What's the learning curve? What does that implementation look like?
So that's the key. And like you said, like the divisions in different companies today, they make their own decisions, right? So they might bring in Salesforce, or they might bring in HubSpot from a sales or dynamic CRM without understanding of the rest of the company, how that fits in. So there is no holistic approach for many companies, because sometimes the IT gets so much bogged down with day-to-day operations. So it's very difficult for them to see holistically and try to influence the company to come onto one system or manage it. So that becomes a little bit chaotic, and what we call it's called a digital debt. That means you have a lot of debt. You're using one platform, but somebody's using another platform that does the same thing. So now you're paying for multiple things and they're not integrated together. So you're paying, it's just a debt in technology, right? So there's a technical debt. And there's also what we also try to do is business processes, right? So a lot of business process there, people think that that's the process. They don't reimagine the process. So what we try to do is we try to look from outcome based. What is the outcome you're trying to accomplish? And then we can change the whole process, reimagine the process. And just think about, like when you think about a car, when you want to go into a car, you will think about your keys and you want to open the key, get in and press the button, or whether you want to turn the key in or press the button. And then when you want to stop, you press the button to stop, get down, lock the key, right? So that is a process everybody thinks. But I got Tesla recently. None of them really happens, right? I just walk to my car with my phone. It automatically opens. When I set, it tells me which way you want to go. You want to go back or forward. So there is no start, no stop, no opening, right? But the outcome is the same. We all want to sit in the car to drive, whether you want to drive forward or backward, right? So the outcome-based thinking will help you to reimagine your processes and improve your processes. Right. So that's the kind of thinking we try to come with all the companies. Is we want to know the steps, but we actually want to know the outcome so that we can bring the right processes, right technology, so that it can improve the process.
So an example of that would be a company that I know of that recently implemented HubSpot as a CRM. They're a Office 365 user, which is already creating some integration problems between that, but they're big Zoom people, and they won't look at Teams. So what was the point of having the Office 365 and HubSpot if you're not going to integrate all these pieces together? Because now we have to have separate logins for all these different pieces. And so when a business is looking at that, what you're talking about is as much value in that as there is in the technology itself, because the technology, for the sake of technology, may not be beneficial for that company.
I mean, you're right. So those, but there should be somebody, right? So within the company that would help them to think through what they have, right? Now, not only what they have. First is the awareness piece. Next is the training piece. You train them, because when you take Office 365, they have so many apps. So you might not use all of them, but pick which ones you use based on the company's culture, company's business. Take them, train them, let everybody have awareness. But the most important thing companies needs to do is the governance. You got to make sure that this is the governance. Everybody does the same thing. Otherwise, what happens is it starts frustration within the company.
Absolutely.
If somebody is using OneNote for all their meeting notes, and somebody else is using a Word document, now we are like, okay, who should I follow? And then it creates frustration. So the governance is the key: awareness, training, adoption, and governance. So those four are very, very important.
Because I think one of the most frustrating products that I hear people talking about, and certainly my experience, is SharePoint. It's a really complex piece of technology that doesn't have a simple way of using it. But then if the company doesn't have the right governance in place, it ends up loaded with multiple versions of the same, because people feel inclined to want to keep uploading their version of it, or they don't realize they're uploading their version of it. And so you end up with 10, 12 different versions of the same corporate document.
I think one of the things Teams has done is Teams has a very seamless integration with SharePoint, right? From document repository standpoint. So it made it very simple. So when you talk about SharePoint, a lot of people think it's very complex, it's very difficult and frustrating. That's why they jump to Dropbox or they jump to other Google Drive or something.
Yeah.
But what Teams has done is it brought everything together. You don't even know that the back side of it is SharePoint, right? So you just use Teams. You can use it from anywhere, from your phone, everything. But then it creates, it makes it easy to use, but also easy to share the permissions. You don't have to worry about the security. So I think that's what Teams really has helped in this whole process.
Yeah. Well, then, in my example, a company that is committed to 365, but then has Zoom accounts for everybody, they're not really getting the most out of that, blending together that technology. And certainly in the case of a sales team, if you want them to use HubSpot, then there should be some better integration, so we're not, double dealing on both sides of those, because it makes the job of the sales force and worldwide sales force really difficult.
Yeah. I mean, like right now, Microsoft has come up with a lot of new features. It's called a Viva, right? So Microsoft Viva has a lot of things within the Viva suite. You have Viva Learnings, Viva Insights, now Viva Sales, right? So there's so many things. So Viva Sales will like directly engage from your inbox to Teams through your CRM. Right now, they're in two CRMs. They're integrated. One is Salesforce and one is their own CRM, Microsoft Dynamics Sales. Very seamless integration, very easy to use. Now, like it empowers Teams more, right? So making Teams as hub of all your activity.
Right. Yeah.
So for example, in our company, nobody emails internally. There's no emails, only Teams.
Yeah.
In that way, we cut down our clutter of emails.
Yeah.
And we have, and also within Teams, it is relevant to that particular project or a particular initiative. So we can get into there and then manage those messages, right? So we don't have, because if it's an email, you don't know how relevant it is for us. So you got to read or check as unread. So it becomes a little bit more complicated and more time consuming for us.
Right. Yeah, I think the same company actually uses Slack as well for the communication.
Yeah, so now you see that.
All these things. But I mean, you're obviously a problem solving company, and finding those and solving those problems. There's always going to be a clash between the marketing department, what they want, what the sales department want, what IT wants, what IT thinks that everybody wants, because there's a lack of that common vision. And that's what you're talking about. You solve that. You take each of what the constituents want and blend that into a program that satisfies as much of all those as everybody else.
Yeah, I think one of the key factor in a company's success of digital strategy is going to be who is responsible for digital initiative. It should start from the leadership, right? The top leader. And then right now you have IT as its own silo, right? Every department is a silo. If you have that way, then everybody's sticking to their lanes and trying to make their lane much better, aligning with the company goal. But you need to have a position that is across the company, not a vertical, but it is horizontal, that sits right below the CEO or the president, or that is like in the big enterprise, it's called Chief Digital Officer. Right. In the smaller companies, you can have, like, people used to call it integrators before. Now you bring in a technology integrator, right? So one of my friend and my business coach, John Lund, he's coming up with this name. It's called autogrator, right? So this person that's looking at business automations and integrations together, so that sits on top of all the business units, understands the business, but also understands this technology, how technology can just integrate and build efficiencies. I think that is the role that is missing in many companies. So that's the reason why they're where they are. They have multiple platforms, multiple technologies, because nobody really knows. Whichever company comes and gives them, or they talk to somebody, their peers in other companies. Oh, we use Slack. Okay, now let's go and use Slack. Hey, we use Dropbox. Hey, let's go use Dropbox. It becomes those kind of peer-to-peer networking events, and that's where they say, oh, it really helps us. Okay, now let's use it, but not thinking thoroughly about their company and their strategy.
Right. So in your, I'm sorry, I've met with you several times and seen your work a lot over the time. What difference has a coach made to you?
Oh, it's huge difference. I never thought about it. It's going to be that huge. I met my coach at 2020, and he actually sent me a message in LinkedIn to do a webinar for his clients, and just it took off. And then he saw me, and we started talking, and I felt like I needed him.
Yes.
Because what happens with the leadership level is you are your boss, right? Nobody can tell you if you don't meet your goals, right? What are your expectations? So the coach will put you in check, right? But also because of their experience, they help us guide, right? They guide through, okay, this is what you're trying to accomplish, and here are the things you might need to look into, right? So most of the times we are very overconfident that we can accomplish things, but now you need to understand what are the obstacles that you might face, you might not face, but what if these things happen? So it gave me that insights of how I need to start thinking, which also helped me to be a little different for my own company, for my own leadership. So a lot of things have changed. It really helped. It really helped move the company. We reimagined our company, what we are doing right, what we are doing wrong. The most important thing I learned is getting feedback is the most important thing from the client, from the employees, everybody, and understanding who I am and what I'm doing. Is it aligning with the company that we are trying to build? And same way for everybody below us. So every leadership role, we all are now in a process, and I think every business needs to have a very good coach. I mean, they need to have a coach, but they need to have a good coach, and I think coaching is very important.
Yes, and people, think of consulting when they think of coaching, but the two totally
different.
They're totally different altogether. And I think, it doesn't matter what the size of business is. You made some really good points about the fact that a business owner, whatever position they are within that company, even if it's a small business owner, they live in their own world. And somebody from the outside can help them visualize better. And a lot of people, so like my clients, they've been in business for 10 years and they've almost forgotten why they started the business. Because they get just into the day-to-day routines of running the business, and they're not seeing, I'll take care of that next week, I'll do that next month. And of course, it's always next month, it's always next week. And a coach can really bring that value and that accountability.
But also, I think one of the most important thing I think coaches bring is, so in a day-to-day business, we have two things that we always look into, right? What are the urgent things? And what are the important things? So most of the time, the important thing is your long-term that's going to help your business. And we give off that to do an urgent thing. Right. So I think the balance between those two is very important. And I think that's what the coaches really helps us. Because not letting our focus off of our important things that we need to do.
Yes, very much so. Straight up, thank you so much. It's really nice to talk to you again. Nice to see you again. And thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right. See you.
Right. Thank you. Bye-bye.